Thank you, sir. Now I request Ms. Neeraja Ganesh, ma'am, to deliver the keynote speech.
Good morning. Thank you, Sneha. By the way, my daughter's name is Sneha, so I was thrilled when Sneha introduced me. And good morning to everyone, respected principal, deans, all of the faculty members of New Horizon College of Engineering, my co-speakers, and my dear students. Let's spend a few seconds thinking about what's trending in the news headlines these days. What is it? Everyone singing Natu Natu from RRR, right? Or is it the World Championship of the hockey? Or is it our Nama Bengaluru flower show that is going on? How many of you followed the recent news article on the New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern's resignation? We did. Whether we liked it or not, we did. And quite a few headlines came by, and I'll read some of them. While she said that she had no regrets over the decision to step down, the world reactions were, she showed the world how to lead with intellect and strength. Someone said, an empathetic, compassionate, strong, and steady leadership over these past several years. Another said, a source of inspiration to many, while some said, led with strength, empathy. And somewhere there was this news headline which said, Jacinda Ardern resigns, can women have it all? The question that I have is, I'm not debating the news headlines. We're not here for that today. But if it was a man who probably would have been at the same phase of life that she was and took such a decision, would it have been covered in the same way that it was covered for her? What is all? Can women have it all? What is that all? Who defines the all? And why should a woman have to answer that question? Can she have it all? So, I want to spend the next few minutes telling you that the all has to be decided by each of us. Man, woman doesn't matter. It is the individual who decides the all for themselves. It is your individual ambition. Doesn't have to be under the pressure of peers, family, the country, and the world at large, but what is it that you wish to do? And that is what defines the all. So, have I had it all? Neeraja Ganesh, I got introduced in a very nice manner. If you were to ask me that question, I'll say, yeah, of course, I've had it all. But then, if you were to compare my life, and I talk about a holistic life, right? Career is one part of it. It's a very holistic life where you have family, you have community, etc. And if I were to compare that with Vijaya's, with Pushpalata's, with Sheelan's, and anybody else's life, maybe whoever is at the same age as I am, and then someone says, has Neeraja had it all? Maybe the question, the answer might be, yeah. Or somebody else might say, no, she hasn't had it as well as someone else. But again, who defines that all? It is you. You for yourself, which is the most difficult part. It's very, very difficult to kind of think about what is that all for ourselves. But it is your career and it is your life. Each of you has to run your race at your own pace. So a few years ago, if you look at my career trajectory, I had a great corporate career, 25 years. When I quit from corporate, I was the director at Capgemini. And then I've done many, many things. There's not one thing that you say. I headed NGOs, I was part of the academia, I write, I speak, and I do many, many things. And I think people probably have recognized me after I left the corporate. Maybe people didn't know that a Nirja Ganesh existed for those 25 years. But today they seem to know. And when they come and ask me, when I get invited to speak at such forums, ma'am, what is your designation? I say, I have none. Because I'm not employed anywhere. Neither do I have my own company. So I say, you can make up the designation that you wish to for me. I am Neeraj Ganesh, and that is my all. In comparison to many of my friends, we all started our careers together, and they may have chosen to continue their careers in corporate. They probably have a very fat designation and may be making more money than I am, for sure. Maybe having fancier cars and more fancier holiday vacations that they take, but it's perfectly fine because it is their all. There is no comparison. So a few years ago, I was at this organization, a services company, and we were servicing a client that we had for more than 15 years, a very prestigious client. And of course, if the client stayed with us for 15 years, it meant that we were doing well. In those 15 years, in the senior leadership, which is the business unit head, and his direct reports, maybe 5 or 6 of them, and then each of those direct reports, maybe a total extended leadership team size of about 30, in those 15 years, apparently there was no woman. And then after 15 years, a woman got hired into that position. Happened to be me. So you can imagine the pressure, and all eyes were on me. And I myself was also going through a bit. Okay, 15 years, there was no woman. Now I'm here, must do something. This client was in Pune, and a large part of this team, including the leadership, used to sit in Pune. Of course, this company was global and we had teams across the country. I was in Bangalore with a small team, and I had another peer of mine in Bangalore with his small team. But our teams also extended to all other cities, including Pune. So there was a mandate that I do this travel to Pune every other month, almost every month. Pre-COVID, we didn't know how to deal with online situations, and it was said that it doesn't work. You have to show up every month to meet the bosses, to meet your teams, to meet the client, etc., which I did for the first few months. And after that, I was thinking, is it really required? It became more of a compliance that, okay, June she came, July she came, but what was I achieving by that travel? So I sat down with the business unit head and I told him, see, I'm not going to travel unless there's a real need. For example, in the role that I was, which was business performance management, if I had to kind of face an audit, I will definitely come to Pune because, face-to-face interactions make sense. But just to go and say hello to my team, which I can do very well remotely, or just to say hello to my bosses, I was not going to do so. And everyone told me it's a career-limiting move, even to have a conversation like that. I said, it's okay. I know what I want. And of course, the business unit said that we can't have you not traveling. So I did move out of the account. And at the same time, there was a lot going on at home. For the 25 years that I survived in the corporate, it was because of a lot of support that my family offered. My parents, in-laws, husband, including my daughter, who's 21 now. And at that point in time, that entire support structure was crumbling down. Some health exigencies in the families in Bangalore, who was in the leadership. He called me and he said, hey, Neerja, I have resigned. And I said, okay, where are you joining now? And he said, I'm not joining anywhere at the moment. While I'm giving interviews, some offers are coming. I for sure know what I don't want to do. I don't want to join a company that works US hours, which means that I give in my life my evenings and early mornings for those calls. I for sure don't want to join a company which has so much of travel that I'm not available for my family. And he had just then had a second child. He said, I don't want my second child to grow up the way the first child grew up, where the child didn't even see me because of the late evening calls and, travels. So I for sure know what I don't want to do. I'll find something soon. And, I let go of the guilt. because the realization came by that it's not only the women, but even men who want to have their all in a particular way, and it's perfectly fine. Maybe you don't have that courage to say it or to kind of step down at that point in time, but it is your all. Today, I want to talk about 3 E's. The first one being envision. All of us understand the meaning of envision. Have a vision. Have a vision for your own all. And visualize. It's so very important to visualize that vision. I don't know if some of you have heard the Jim Carrey, the actor, in one of the Oprah Winfrey shows. He says it worked for him. The visualization worked for him. But he says visualize, but don't go and then eat a sandwich because it's not going to do anything for you. Set the intent for what you want, for that all that you want, and then go all after it. So I set the intent to be a public speaker. For many years in my career, for the first 10 years or so, I've not even spoken to anyone, haven't even said a hi to the person who sat next to me. And you can get those stories online if you Google for some of the talks that I've done. But then as I grew into my leadership roles, I had to address teams. At max, I must have addressed a town hall of say 100, 200, maybe 500. But one of those town halls is when I visualized that I would like to be a public speaker. And today, I do get invited internationally, and as it was mentioned, that I also got invited to speak at a TEDx. So envision. The second E is about empower.